In 2054, on the frozen planet Niflheim, Mickey wakes up inside a deep crevasse, covered in frost. Spotting a nearby ship, he calls out to his friend Timo, who's shocked to see him alive. But instead of helping, Timo just grabs Mickey's flamethrower, saying it's not worth saving him since he'll die soon anyway. This Mickey is a clone, number 17. Every time he dies, the company prints a new body, uploading his weekly memory backups to avoid any gaps. The process is so routine for the science team that they barely notice him anymore. During Mickey 17's printing, a hose came loose, possibly affecting the outcome, though the technician fixed it mid-process. Cloning is banned on Earth, only allowed in space for people like Mickey, classified as expendables. They're sent on deadly missions with zero concern for their survival, since replacements can be printed on demand. Once Mickey was sent outside for a repair job, only to realize the machine was fine. The real mission? To expose him to radiation and study his slow, painful death. When a tool fell and severed his hand, the scientists were fascinated. His next clone was given just 15 minutes to live, just enough time for them to collect samples, which Dr. Dorothy considered special. This all started 4 years ago, back on Earth. Mickey and Timo were best friends. Timo convinced Mickey to take out a shady loan to open a macaron shop, but the business tanked. Soon they were hunted down by violent debt collectors who used taser grenades to knock them out. When they came to, they met mafia boss Darius, a chainsaw-wielding sadist. The message was clear: pay up or die. That's when they decided to flee Earth. Mickey applied to join a space colony expedition, but millions had applied. The mission was led by ex-Congressman Kenneth, who'd lost his last 2 elections, but still had a cult-like following and corporate backing from a religious sponsor. Timo got in easily, somehow landing a learner's permit as a pilot. Mickey had no credentials, so he picked expendable on the application without knowing what it meant. A company rep walked him through the role, explaining exactly what being expendable involved. The printer used all kinds of organic waste, food scraps, human waste, even corpses, to create new clones. But Mickey barely paid attention to the explanation, completely distracted by the woman's oddly pleasant scent. She popped the zit on his forehead so it wouldn't show up in every future copy, then slid him into the machine for his first scan. Next, she backed up his memories into a brick-like drive. A special injection triggered old recollections, and suddenly Mickey was reliving the trauma of his mother's death. How as a child he hit a red button during a car ride, causing a fatal crash. Overwhelmed, he broke down. To test his commitment to the system, the woman handed him a gun and told him to end himself. When he hesitated, she pulled the trigger herself, but the gun was empty. Soon after, the spaceship launched. Life on board was grim, disgusting food and strict rations. Anyone caught stealing extra triggered a shrieking alarm that forced them to drop it. During the crew's first lunch break, Kenneth arrived with his wife Yelfa and a few assistants from the sponsoring church. It became clear Kenneth wasn't the mastermind. Yelfa and the church were pulling the strings. Still, most of the crew adored him, while a few stayed quiet. That's when Mickey spotted Nasha, a security officer, and it was love at first sight. She invited him to sit with her, shared her food, and they clicked instantly. Meanwhile, Kenneth gave a dramatic speech about building a new society on the destination planet. To conserve energy, he banned all sexual activity until the colony was settled, but promised a future, intercourse encouragement campaign. His fans cheered. Mickey and Nasha did not care. They ignored the ban and began secretly exploring each other, with numbered positions they planned to act out later. Crew members constantly asked Mickey what dying felt like, which made him uncomfortable. Once, Nasha jokingly threatened to shoot everyone so they could find out, sparking a cafeteria fight. Security tossed them into a holding cage for the night, and Mickey's rations were cut in half. When other women like Kai or Jennifer tried to get close to Mickey, Nasha quickly stepped in, making it very clear he was taken. Eventually, the ship reached Niflheim. As soon as they landed, the scientists sent Mickey outside without a helmet to absorb all the local viruses. He fell sick and died almost instantly. The experiment was repeated multiple times to help create a vaccine. Once Mickey was still alive inside the body bag, and the scientists noticed, but they tossed him into the cycler anyway. Thanks to the version known as Mickey 12-16, they finally developed a vaccine, allowing humans to breathe on the planet without masks. Mickey joined the first exploration team, heading into an icy cave. Inside, Kai spotted a hole in the wall and discovered a nest of worm-like creatures. When one leapt at her and grabbed her leg, she panicked and ran. A teammate fired a warning shot, scaring the aliens off. On their way out, Jennifer froze. Something moved above her. She fired upward, shattered the ice, and was crushed to death as it collapsed. Back on the ship, Kenneth exploded at Mickey. Jennifer was valuable. Mickey was expendable. He was supposed to die. After watching footage of the creatures, Kenneth named them Creepers, and punished Mickey by cutting his rations again and doubling his work shift. Mickey was sent to gather creeper samples, with Timo flying by to drop food. One afternoon, Mickey stepped on weak ice, fell into a crevasse, and lay there until a giant creeper found him and dragged him away. Soon, the baby creepers surrounded him, nibbling at his fingers like playful puppies. The mother creeper pulled him out and made strange noises. Mickey mimicked her sounds, staring at the creatures and thinking, "Clones must be so gross, even aliens don't want to eat them." Suddenly, a company truck rolled by. Mickey shouted, but they didn't hear. Desperate, he ran after it, eventually climbing onto the roof. Back at the ship, he went straight to his room, only to find another version of himself already there. Mickey 18. Multiples were illegal. Mickey 17 panicked. Mickey 18 responded by knocking him out with a dumbbell. The issue of multiple clones went back to Earth when cloning first became viable. The ethics committee warned of potential abuse, especially since one scientist, Alan, was rumored to be a sociopath. A witness claimed Alan was behind a string of murders targeting homeless men, but Alan always had a perfect alibi. Eventually, police raided Alan's home and discovered he'd been cloning himself to commit crimes while remaining innocent on paper. 2 Allans were arrested, but a third was still out on the streets, murdering. That Alan got caught too, igniting a major legal and ethical debate. How do you charge 3 versions of the same man? The church condemned multiples, insisting one soul should occupy one body. But the science team saw potential. Kenneth joined the debate, calling printed bodies a sin, but a useful one. That's when he launched the expendable program, proposing a rule. Only 1 expendable per planet. If a duplicate ever appeared, all clones would be terminated. In the present, Mickey 17 regains consciousness to find himself being wheeled down a hallway in a cart by Mickey 18. He recalls what Nasha once said, "Every Mickey is a little different." 18, it seems, was printed with extra rage. When they reach the cycler room, 17 tries to catch 18 off guard and attack from behind, but 18 is ready and beats him down. Pinned against the cycler hatch, 17 proposes a deal. They could share shifts, alternate deaths like civilized clones. But 18 laughs. 17 is scared to die, even though he's done it so many times. 17 makes an emotional plea. They're not the same. They're individuals, not just copies. But 18 doesn't care. He prepares to shove him into the cycler anyway, until footsteps echo down the hall. They both scatter. It's Timo sneaking in to conduct a little side hustle. He's secretly selling oxofol, a recreational chemical, to crew members. Once the buyer leaves, 18 bursts out and attacks him, blaming Timo for ruining his life with his genius business plan. 18 tries to shove Timo into the cycler, but 17 tackles him just in time. He struggles to save his friend, but 18 yanks him away. The clones brawl, fists flying, until 18 grabs a searing hot metal rod and prepares to end it. Again, they're interrupted, this time by Nasha and Zeke, the head of security. 18 quickly shifts gears. He blackmails Timo into playing along, threatening to expose his drug operation. Timo nods, pretending 18 had saved him from falling into the cycler by accident. Hidden in the shadows, 17 watches it all, seething, especially when Nasha walks off with 18, flirtatiously touching his arm. 17 tries to follow, but is blocked by a smiling church rep who insists on taking a picture with the company mascot. Then the rep announces something worse. Mickey has been selected for a private dinner with Kenneth himself. Seated at the fancy table, Mickey can't stop devouring the incredible food. Kenneth apologizes for his harshness after Jennifer's death, and then Kai joins them. Together, Kenneth and Kai reveal their plan for the future. They want a pure-blood colony. No genetically modified babies, no chips in embryos, just natural birth. And Kai, as a perfect match, is expected to help populate it. Suddenly, Mickey pukes all over the floor. The science team rushes in. A rash is broken out across his neck. They realize the experimental growth hormone in the food is reacting badly. They inject him with a prototype medication, but Mickey can barely stand. He stumbles in circles, groaning, until he collapses in unbearable pain. Kenneth decides it's more humane to kill Mickey, and Yellow Faye shifts her carpet to avoid bloodstains. Kai protests, thinking it's crazy to treat Mickey that way, but Kenneth reminds her he's just an experiment. Mickey pleads not to be shot because he's feeling better, so Kai carries him away. In Kai's room, Mickey spots photos revealing that Kai and Jennifer used to be close. Kai asks him what dying was like for Jennifer. Mickey admits it's terrifying, and he despises it. When Kai attempts affection, Mickey panics and runs off. Back in his own room, Nasha immediately recognizes him as 17, implying that 18 already informed her. She draws the number 17 on his chest with her lipstick while giggling. Noticing an empty bottle that confirms they overdosed on oxofol, 17 and 18 argue briefly until Nasha steps in, insisting they share the chores and food. Nasha then corrals the clones into bed so they can get intimate. As the trio starts their secret tryst, Kai enters and witnesses everything. Without a word, she leaves, and Nasha chases after her. Meanwhile, the clones switch on the TV, a ridiculous talk show featuring Kenneth chatting with his scientists. Frustrated by dinner's events, 18 hurls his drink at the screen, growing even angrier as 17 recounts what happened earlier. Seizing Nash's gun, 18 storms out, determined to kill Kenneth. At the same time, Nasha meets up with Kai, who intends to report the existence of multiples as illegal. Kai reveals she could be silenced if Nasha agrees to share a Mickey, but Nasha snaps back that Mickey isn't a toy to be passed around. Their argument is interrupted when 18 dashes past and 17 follows, warning the women that 18 has a gun. In the cafeteria, a laser cutter splits a huge rock in half to reveal a black diamond inside. Hiding in the crowd, 18 readies to shoot, only to be tackled by an overzealous Kenneth fan. At that moment, a creeper emerges from the rock and chaos erupts. People scatter as Kenneth climbs a table to bark orders about sterilization and capturing the creature alive. Scientists don hazmat suits and give chase, albeit in vain. Kenneth orders 17 to join the pursuit when he spots him entering the room. When the creeper finally halts, 17 echoes the strange sounds he heard earlier, a sound that catches Dorothy's attention. Meanwhile, 18 recovers the gun and opens fire, only to be wrestled down by 17 and Nasha. A stray bullet scratches Kenneth's cheek and embeds in his face. Kai and the other guards open fire on the creeper until it's reduced to nothing but goo, while the scientists capture the first creature. In the distance, the cries of a baby creature echo and are heard by its enormous mother lurking in the crevasse. A few minutes later, Nasha and the clones are locked up in holding cells. Tensions rise as they argue about the recent events with the creatures. 17 recalls what happened in the crevasse, thinking the creatures were repulsed by him. But Nasha corrects him. They didn't reject him. They spared him and saw him off peacefully. Suddenly, a bag hits the guard on duty, knocking him out. It's Timo, who easily sneaks in. Turns out, the guard is one of his clients. Timo shows 17 a mysterious letter left on his door. It reveals something terrifying. Darius' men have tracked them all the way into space. Darius offers to forgive the debt on one chilling condition. He wants a video of Mickey being dismantled. As the guard sets up a camera, Timo breaks down, begging 17 to help him escape this nightmare. But Kai, having none of his theatrics, calls him out, and Timo quickly switches tones, ordering the guard to tase 17. 18 speaks up, offering to go instead, claiming he has a higher pain threshold. But first, he asks for some oxafol. When the guard approaches, 18 grabs his wrist and slams him against the bars. At the same time, Nasha snatches the guard's weapon and stuns Timo, giving them a moment to act. She then grabs the keys and unlocks their cell. With urgency, she grabs the chainsaw, determined to put an end to Timo's threat. But before she can act, Zeke arrives with reinforcements and rearrests everyone. While being marched through the halls, 17 reflects on Nasha's actions, how she's always protected him, even risking herself during a hazardous experiment just to be there for him. When they reach the main observation window, the entire group is stunned to see creepers completely surrounding the spaceship. Meanwhile, scientists are moving the baby creature to another location. Dorothy sees 17 and repeats the strange sounds he made earlier, which he echoes back. She believes it's a real language and is now working on creating a translator. They're taken to the cycler room, where Yellowface shockingly removes the baby creature's tail to develop a new sauce. Kenneth then brands 18's face with a heated metal rod to tell the clones apart. He even orders a full memory wipe of the data brick, erasing their backup. When Kenneth mocks the creatures, Nasha fires back, saying humans are the real invaders. These beings are the planet's natives. She even reveals that they saved Mickey. Kenneth just laughs, calling Mickey inedible trash in their eyes. Dorothy interrupts, explaining that her team is already developing the translator. Suddenly, the baby spits at Kenneth. He tries to retaliate with a hot rod, but misses. Frustrated, Kenneth begins ranting, and Nasha finally snaps, shouting insults back. In a disturbing move, Kenneth dangles the baby over the cycler hole and tosses the end of the rope toward Nasha, who has to catch it with her teeth to save the creature. Meanwhile, Zeke secretly records everything using a hidden camera in his glasses. Kenneth demands all creepers be exterminated, but Yellowface proposes a cruel game instead. She straps explosives to the clones' backs and hands Kenneth 2 detonators. She wants them to hunt creeper tails, and whoever brings back the most wins their life. The loser won't be so lucky. As they're let out, 17 thinks this is all punishment for the accident that caused their mother's death. But 18 insists it was just a tragic coincidence. The car had a defect, and no one is to blame. Outside, Dorothy catches up to them and hands over a prototype translator. With renewed hope, the boys begin their search through the crowd of creepers. Eventually, they find the mother creature, who now finally understands what Mickey is saying. She recognizes Mickey immediately and reveals she's the one who saved him. Yet in return, humans took her baby. Now she warns that if the captive creeper dies too, she won't hold back anymore. To show she's serious, she lets out a piercing screech that all the creeper babies echo in unison. The clones cover their ears and the alien explains. This sound can make a human's brain and eyes explode. Meanwhile, back on the ship, Kenneth and Yelfa panic when they spot the clones communicating with the creepers. Suddenly, 17 runs to the camera and forms the symbol C3 with his fingers, a signal that Nasha understands is their code for bring the baby. While Kenneth prepares for a dramatic confrontation, 17 promises the creeper mother that Nasha will return her baby. But the mother says that won't be enough. Since humans took a baby, a human life must be taken in return. 3 ships depart the station, led by Kenneth. Meanwhile, Nasha makes a bold move, using her legs to trap Yelfa. Zeke throws her a rope, and Nasha offers a deal. She'll let Yelfa go if they let her bring the baby back. Just as Zeke is about to take it, Yelfa slashes his wrist. But Nasha grabs the rope just in time. Yelfa tries to call for Nasha's arrest, but Zeke turns the tables, accusing Kenneth and Yelfa of abuse and saying their actions will be reviewed by the committee. As Kenneth's vehicles approach, the creeper babies surround their mother, piling up to protect her. The guards hesitate. They don't know which one to target. Kenneth picks one at random, but before he can shoot, 18 steps forward. The church representative urges a soldier to fire a warning shot into the sky to avoid triggering the explosive strapped to 18's back. Kenneth opens fire, hitting only the camera. 18 seizes the moment and tackles him. Just then, Nasha arrives with the baby. 18 turns to the mother and says he'll take the life she asked for. Kenneth tries to manipulate him with fear, but 18 makes his choice. He presses the button, and both he and Kenneth are taken out in the blast. With that, the creepers retreat peacefully. In the aftermath, the crew is arrested. Yellowfae loses control and is transferred to a psych ward, where she later shuts herself down. Timo, cornered by Darius's man, fights back and ends up throwing him into the cycler, ultimately getting out on probation, thanks to a self-defense plea. The rest of the crew faces complex trials, turning into a political storm. Once Nasha is released, she runs for a position on the committee, determined to fix the broken system from within. Dorothy finally completes the translator. Mickey now talks freely with the creepers, and learns that the terrifying screeching, it's harmless. The mother had only been bluffing. 6 months pass. One day, Mickey spots movement near the cycler and is shocked to find Yelfae printing a new Kenneth. She offers her bleeding hand as proof she's real. But unlike before, Mickey isn't afraid. He wakes up, sitting with a crowd, watching Nasha deliver a speech as the new committee leader. When she officially announces the end of the Expendables program, Mickey quietly presses a button, and the cycler is destroyed once and for all. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video like this. Thanks for watching.